If there's any dialogue ever done, currently or in future, with regards to real estate transaction space in the market, there's no way the name Square Yards is not being mentioned in that discussion. Square Yards has come a long way from where it started. The market, which was earlier dominated highly by the search platforms and had lead over more than a decade, Square Yards in the last 8 years has left all the whole competition behind and has embarked upon a journey to emerge into a numero uno player in the market by delivering the best marketing or best home buying experience. Today, we have CTO Vivek Agarwal and the CFO Piyush Bothra from Square Yards on Let's Talk Business, where we talk about their journeys and the future moves. Welcome, Piyush and Vivek.
Thanks, Kritika.
Largest player has got no size, basically.
So, Vivek and Piyush, could you tell us the journey from where Square Yards started and how was the first 2 years of Square Yards?
So, Kritika, we started in 2014, and in fact, even the start of the journey is a bit of an interesting piece, given that none of us we were even planning to be entrepreneurs, especially some of the founders who started initially. And the idea where it germinated was we got a lot of exposure to the international market, especially China, and when we looked at what's happening there vis-a-vis what's happening in India and some of the players there in terms of the kind of scale and the size they have achieved, and that's what interested us, saying that we are talking of here in India the largest segment, one of the largest industry, and largest player has got no size, basically massively fragmented, no real inroad being made, and that's what excited us, that it's probably one of the last billion-dollar bastions which are yet to be conquered, and that's what kind of excited us, and that's how we entered. And obviously a lot of learnings through the journey. I think the biggest learning for us was we needed to unlearn a lot, especially as we built the team. The first port of call is obviously go to the market, look at people who are from the industry, bring them on board. We realized that there is a massive amount of unlearning to be done before we can get to what we wanted to create as Square Yards culture and the DNA. So that's how the journey started.
So, how, Vivek, was the first 2 years of when you guys started Square Yards? Were there any challenges you faced earlier?
Yeah, so as Piyush said, the first 2 years were actually spent on unlearning. So we had a lot of guys from the market hired. We started doing primary transactions first, both in India and overseas. So the initial 2 years were spent on building the distribution network, especially in markets like Dubai, in markets, key markets in India. And as we expanded, we realized that although our business is growing, we were building our distribution network. But in terms of the kind of business that we wanted to do, it's still not there, because there are a lot of malpractices in the industry. A lot of developers, they went back on their commitments. So a lot of these things we learned in the initial years, and then we came to a playbook that this is how a primary business has to be run. So yeah, I would say that the first few years were just learning about the industry, unlearning, then learning again.
And a lot of us, Kritika, are, as in the top senior management, largely is not from real estate space. Financial services is what most of us have cut our teeth on. And also one thing, at least we were clear from day one, that the business we wanted to build was not another classifieds business. That was one thing which we were very clear from day one. And we knew that classifieds business has its glass ceiling in terms of the market size it can capture. And that's where we said we have to go after the transaction. And yes, 8 years into it, we know it has been much more difficult to build transactions, and I think that's where we feel that it was the right decision to take, not just from the market size perspective, that how large we can make it, but the kind of moat we have created, because running a hybrid model, which is a full stack model, and replicating it is significantly more difficult than replicating a pure classifieds play. And I think that's really how I would say the initial key decision which has turned out to be very good for us.